What's going on, guys? Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas back with you on a Tuesday night. A lot of rain today. We were talking about that disturbance, technically called Invest 93L. It's just a fancy little designation that the Hurricane Center gives to a disturbance that has the potential to become tropical. So they pay extra close attention to it, run those hurricane models on there, or tropical models, so that we get a better idea of that. Regardless, we talked about it, that it would bring a lot of rain to a lot of Central Florida. So we're going to get into that. We're going to take a look at where that system is after it has gone through Florida. But first, we have some late night thunderstorms partially responsible to that system again that drenched us today. We'll take a look at some of those rainfall totals in just 1 second coming up. Again, we'll also take a little bit of a deeper dive into that Invest 93L and a deeper dive into the tropics as we move forward into the live show tonight. Again, if you're finding us for the first time, we're here every Monday through Friday at 9:30 on News 6 Plus, on clickorlando.com, and on YouTube. Got the trifecta tonight. Welcome, everybody. Elizabeth, good to see you again. I appreciate that. Hey, Kevin, hope you're doing well tonight. Hey, Melissa, what's going on? Jody, I don't know if you saw the response in the chat from earlier. She's asking if there's going to be any days this week where her girls and I will be able to go to Disney Springs without worrying about storms. Seeing that it is July and I don't see a ridiculous chunk of high pressure sliding in over us, there's not a completely dry day across that entire area. However, Friday into Saturday is looking like your closest bet that you get at this time of the year in this part of the country. So we'll get into that a little bit later on into the 7-day forecast as well. But I'm really thinking Friday and Saturday are going to be on the drier side other than a few stray storms. So nice light show tonight. We have a live look tonight in McIntosh just below me. We have a live look tonight in Oak Hill, and we're going to be looking for lightning strikes. We have been very lucky on the live stream over the past couple of months that when we've had these late night thunderstorms, we've had some big flashes in the weather stem network of cameras going forward. So we're going to be looking for that as well tonight. Paul says, bring back the motorcycle weather. First half of tomorrow, I think, is looking pretty good. Today, certainly not the best. So there's the radar right there. Again, right now, let me stop this loop for you. There's where the rain is. Lightning strikes around Sanford, the steady rain towards Geiger's Landing, Deltona, Lake Helen, Casadega tonight. All of this is sliding to the north and drifting off into the northeast as well. So if you're in New Smyrna Beach, if you're in Edgewater, might get clipped with this guy. A little downpour on the west side of town, sliding up to Pearson. We're getting rid of our downpour, and then all of this is going to be pushing back in to Flagler Beach. Melissa says it is getting really windy here in New Smyrna Beach. Does that mean a tornado is possible? I do not think so. We are not in a tornado-y kind of day. What you are seeing or feeling is the outflow from this storm. So what happens is you get this rain to fall into the drier air at the surface. It cools that air around it, and then it falls to the ground. So that air is a little more dense than the air around it. It hits the ground think of a giant water balloon, and then it splatters out in all directions. Think of that as using a water balloon as an example, but it's really the air hitting the ground and spreading out. That is what we call outflow, and that's that rain-cooled air surging forward, and a lot of times there's some gusty winds out ahead of it, and that's because of this downpour, but there is no threat of any kind of tornadoes tonight. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this, some crazy stuff, and we had some nasty flooding in parts of northern Brevard County today, especially around Mims, Scottsmore area. Rainfall anywhere from 5 to 8-ish inches today in northern Brevard County. This is over the past 12 hours, so now this is I'm going to have to extend this a little bit to 24 hours because the rainfall started along the Space Coast early this morning, as expected. But so we need to go out. So here is, as we do some high-level pinpointing, do I have anybody watching from the northern half of Brevard County? Because look at the deal here. Palm Bay, Grant Valcaria, Micco, you might be wondering, this guy is crazy. we ain't getting rain today. And that was the sharp cutoff. I had somebody message me on Facebook, Hunters Creek area today, didn't get much rain. And you can see the cutoff. There's just kind of like right through here. That's where the heaviest rain came through north of that white line as that Atlantic disturbance slid on through. But check out all the rain. The bullseye here, we had a flash flood warning for a time late this morning. It went to about 1 o'clock for northern Brevard County, southern Volusia. Look at all the rain. This is radar estimates of about 7.9 inches, nearly 8 inches of rain just to the west of 95 in Scottsmore. I mean, the rain was coming down big time at that stage of the game. So wild stuff today. Again, the wind was never an issue with this. It was always going to be the rain, and we were worried about some minor flooding across the board, especially on the north side of Central Florida, north of Orlando. There's the heavy rain coming through again. Earlier today, we'll take a look at Volusia County, 5.6 inches. New Smyrna, closer to 2 inches. Radar estimated time frame on that one as we are moving forward. Okay, guys, have a lot of questions here about the low itself. Is the low offshore yet? The answer to that is it's about to be. We're going to take a look at this. I have to hit our first break of the night. So do me a favor, stick around. I've got something cool to show you, and it's kind of tropical meteorology. I wouldn't say 101. I would say this is probably maybe 201. It's the level up. So it's not introductory, but it's certainly something that you can look for if you're watching the visible satellite. I want to show you something cool in the reason why it tried to become a depression prior to Florida, but it did not. And this is part of what I'm getting at here. Jordan says the low-level circulation is still on land while the upper level is off the coast of the Big Bend. And this is the reason why it did not become a depression prior to Florida. I want to show you this on the visible satellite. It's kind of cool. And we got the impactful side of the storm, the heavy rain, whereas the center came ashore far north, closer into northern Flagler County. We are going to take a look at that coming up in about 3 minutes. Stick with me. Alrighty, guys, we are back. Welcome to the live stream. We have some thunderstorms out there. I don't know if Lightning McDrift is saying "What's up, Boomers" for the old people, or because we have thunderstorms up there. I don't know. We'll see what Lightning McDrift has to say. But we got a lot to talk about tonight. Of course, a lot of rain across the northern half of Central Florida, and we are still dealing with, at least for the people across the North Gulf Coast, if this Invest 93L is going to develop. So this is going to be a 6-hour loop, and we lose the data here because we lose daylight. This is the visible satellite. So you need daylight to be able to use this satellite channel. We'll show you the infrared in a second so that sorry, I saw stuff with tornado, so I just wanted to make sure in the chat. There's no tornado. I don't know why they're saying that over across the street. Not a shot. But anyway, this is the kind of cool thing. So look, there's two things that I want you to look at here. When this refreshes, there's two things. So you see that bubbling going on through about Gainesville, Marion County, all that bubbling. That is the mid-level center. That's where all the thunderstorms were with this. Look now, you see that little curl? We'll have to wait for this to replay. Play the Jeopardy song as this refreshes here, going back 8 hours. Right there, that little swirl north of Palm Coast in St. Augustine, Green Cove Springs. That is the low-level center. I talk about this all the time, that tropical systems are like a stack of pancakes. You want your flapjacks to be kind of sitting up straight, stacked on top of each other, or else they're going to fall off the plate, and then your breakfast is ruined because they fell on the floor. Same deal in the tropical world. For a tropical system to strengthen, its low-level center needs to be co-located and right on top of its low-level center. This here showed us that northeasterly shear, the wind out of the northeast, pushed the low-level center away from the mid-level center. It kind of pulled it apart, lifted it, and spread it apart together. So they were not together. Obviously a good thing because we didn't want it to get strong. Even if they were co-located, it was going to run into land anyway. We were not concerned about a significant storm in Florida in terms of the wind on that front. So now I want to show you a couple of things. This is what's going on right now. This is the infrared. So now we're looking at the temperature of the cloud top. So infrared takes the temperature because it can't see anything because we don't have the sun. So the darker the reds here, the colder the cloud tops. Temperature decreases with height. So that means that the colder the cloud tops, the taller they are, and the taller thunderstorms are, the more intense they are. So we're looking for the oranges in the reds specifically. The oranges and the reds specifically, meaning that we have some intense thunderstorms. So the mid-level center is now off the ocean or into the ocean now, and it's working its way kind of parallel to the North Gulf Coast. So that's the mid-level center of 93L. But as we take a look at tropical tidbits, look at the surface observations, there is where the low-level center resides, closer to Lake City, give or take, and I-75, that counterclockwise motion at the surface. So they are still disconnected. Indications are, and we'll get back to, because we are tracking here when you're looking at these things, it's the low-level center that you're concerned with, again, to become tropical, because to become tropical, you need to fire off thunderstorms right around the storm center. So the latest spaghetti models on 93L keep some of them over land or very, very close to the shoreline. This would not give it really any time to develop at all, like into anything, which would be good. Still, that heavy rain threat is going to be there for the North Gulf Coast. The one thing that can happen when you have the disconnect between the low-level center and the mid-level center, you can either let me get back to the infrared. You can either the thunderstorm activity, 40% shot, by the way, for that to happen, for that to become a tropical depression. I am working on getting my infrared satellite back so I can give you the method to my madness here. There is that flare up again. A lot of times the thunderstorms can kind of pull the low level center back underneath. But what would be the more likely scenario here in terms of 93L being able to come in depression is to reform the low level center underneath. So it kind of works from the top down to reform the center a little bit. And then that way it can do it. So there's two things that can happen here. It looks like to me the original low level center here is going to just continue to run away from all the thunderstorms. And I think on that front, that's probably a good thing so that we can avoid any kind of significant development here. It remains to be seen. There's not a lot of wind shear in the Gulf right now. So it remains to be seen if it can do that, if it can form a new low level center. But I think that's going to be Invest 93L's most likely way of becoming a tropical depression or tropical storm before it comes on land. Alrighty, guys, post your questions in the comment section. There's a bunch of them coming in now, and I'm going to look over them. I'm going to answer them for you when we get back in our question and answer session coming up in just about 3 minutes. Keep on posting in the comments. Thank you guys for all the interaction tonight. You know that's my favorite part about the show. So keep that coming tonight as we have the latest on 93L and the latest on thunderstorms going forward tomorrow. More of the routine stuff. We're going to break that down for you in just 3 minutes. And of course, we're taking your questions. We'll see you in a second. Alrighty, guys, we are back. In the last 5 minutes of the show, we are answering some questions for you. Annie, where are you? There's no reason to be nervous or anything. If we're talking about the storms that are out there now, they pose no threat to any kind of damage or anything like that tonight. These are just gentle storms that are having a few lightning strikes here and there. Nothing to worry about, though, going forward. I'm just pulling up the other computer. We are going to take your questions again, so keep those coming over. That's, of course, what is left of Invest 93L for us. We'll give you another look at the radar again, and we're going to go over all of this again in just 1 second. That is, and coming up at 10 o'clock, that is the footprint of some of the heavy rain that we had today. We're going to talk about some rain totals as well coming up during our 10 o'clock streaming news. Again, if you want to watch that, keep it on YouTube. It's a different chiclet that you have to, it's a different thumbnail that you have to click on, so it's not the same live feed here. But if you stay on the News 6 live feed, you're going to see the newscast coming up at 10 o'clock tonight. And we're going to track these guys that are out there right now and all of that. Hey, Rebecca, thanks so much. Is it just going to say WKMG News Channel 6, Click Orlando has the best weather team? It's like a master class in weather. Really appreciate that. We don't take that lightly. So, whoops, hit the wrong button. Let's go ahead and say that. So thank you again. Really appreciate that. Yeah, there is nothing concerning out there, Melissa. I promise you. So there's no reason to be afraid. Paul has great advice. Do not dip into the hurricane snacks. I am a big offender of that. Okay, Elizabeth is asking, should we pay attention to what AccuWeather says about the weather? Well, I mean, I hope you pay attention to what News 6 says about the weather. They have some good people at AccuWeather. A lot of their stuff is kind of, I don't know, out of left field a lot of times. So it depends upon what you mean or what you're referring to, whether it's their like 7-day forecast or 30-day forecast, because that's impossible. At least in 2025 it is. Maybe in 10 years we'll be able to forecast 30 days out. So it depends upon what you mean, or some of their hurricane forecasting and all that stuff. But yeah, Anastasia says, picking up in Daytona Beach. Thank you for that report. Let's get there right now. And I'm going to switch. I have that bottom camera now is Daytona Beach. So you can see the low-hanging clouds coming in to Daytona. So we'll change the title on that. Working its way through. Thanks, Elizabeth. I think you had a question too. It was just a track of this thing. So it was all the weather was kind of on the northern side of the disturbance. So wherever it tracked, all of the rain was going to be to the north side of it. And it kind of split Orange County in half as it came through. I'll show you that footprint again. Tampa, I want to go back to the radar. I want to go to the rainfall amounts and 24-hour radar. And there it was. The heavy rain was kind of right on through there. And so if you were Orlando and then points north, that's where you got that through. 7-day forecast real quick, and I'm going to break this down in more detail coming up at 10 o'clock. But there you go. Rain chances going down a little bit. So again, if you're trying to get out over the next couple of days, I think I'm going to end up lowering the rain chances Friday and Saturday. So that's some kind of inside information. I've been looking over the latest data, and I think I'm going to drop Friday and Saturday, probably 40% on Friday, maybe 30% on Saturday. I think those are going to be the drier of the next 7 days, and then we kind of ramp things back up into kind of the more typical rainfall pattern that we are used to seeing. Alrighty, guys, I am about out of time. Again, News 6 Plus, it's a free download. We have the new News 6 at 10 o'clock starting in just about 3 minutes here on News 6 Plus, also on clickorlando.com, and of course on YouTube. Again, if you're on the YouTube side of things and you are watching this show, News 6 at 9:30. I appreciate that a ton. Thank you so much for being here. All the questions, all the comments, all the interaction. I love that. Get to talk weather and nerd out. I don't know where that music came from all of a sudden, but it just sometimes decides to come on up. We're going to break that down again. All things local, Central Florida weather coming up, News 6 at 10 o'clock. Again, find the new YouTube link. That is going to be on the News 6 YouTube channel homepage. It'll say coming up and then that live stream to follow. Thank you guys a ton for being here. I will catch you tomorrow at 9:30, or let's hang out in 5 minutes. News 6 at 10 o'clock and News 6 at 11. We'll see you there.